Hey, well, welcome back to the channel, guys. So tonight, I'm here in the bedroom and I'm playing around with a new toy. Recently picked up from Facebook Marketplace was this old rack mount unit, the Digitech GSP 21 Pro, loaded with the Legend chip. And what is the Legend chip? Well, I don't really know, but it seemed to be, it seemed that it was once a very popular unit. I don't think I ever owned this unit. I have owned a lot of rack mount units in the past. I wish I would have kept a lot of those because I think they're kind of vintage now. And I once had a Carvin all solid chrome tube preamp. It was freaking badass. And I got rid of it, and later in the years to follow, found out they were selling for like $600. I think I bought them for like 200 to 300. So sort of like a desired piece, but it was an all tube power amp. Carbon was putting out some cool. I had so many stuff, guys. It's kind of funny, but here's kind of a list of what the Legend chip offered. I don't even know who Dave Murray is. There's some Larry Carlton stuff. Hairspray, Rectifier X. So Steve Morse, Albert, blah blah blah. I really Richie Blackmore, Frank Gambale, Dave the Snake Sabo. I don't know who that is. Joe Walsh. Mind you, I haven't really even heard these. I think I'm only up to number 5. Canyon Chorus. So it'll be interesting, to say the least. I got this unit for $170. It came with the foot controller, which is very nice. I mean, it's nice that we can buy a rack unit and get the pairing foot controller, and it's got a nice LED blue, and you can turn on and off any one of the effects. So it's really it comes in handy. Now, if you wanted to add a volume pedal, you could, as long as it's MIDI compatible, not quarter inch. So I think for $170, the guy gave me another pedal, another floor model that was a little bit in disarray. I told him, well, I don't really need it, bro. He goes, well, it comes with it. I guess he was trying to justify the 170. I was trying to talk him down to 150, but he was like, well, you're getting an extra foot controller. So I don't really need it, though. He goes, but that's the deal. So, but I still like it, and I still have some rack gear. And all I really need, and I really don't really need anything. If I wanted to put together another rack system, I could use this. And I also have another rack unit and a Rocktron power amp. Yeah. So I did a little remodeling in my room. I decided I'm gonna leave my my Firefly guitars out, all of my imports out, and then just have a couple of premium guitars out, and then kind of go through those little by little. And so I kept, I'm going to keep my Firefly guitars out in my imports. I was doing some cleaning on my guitars that were hanging on the wall, and I noticed that there's just too much oxidation and dust that occurs on my premium guitars. So with these guitars, it's okay. I don't care if they get a little oxidized or dusty. Because they're the imports. Oh, so yeah, I still have this 11 rack. I did a whole video on my YouTube channel using just this one unit for effects because it does some pretty cool stuff. And I got this one dirt cheap, and I can also control it with a Behringer foot controller. But this was pretty expensive back in the day, and they're still selling here and there, you know, between $200 to $300. But this is a very interesting unit, the 11 rack. And yeah, so I still have rack gear, and I could actually hook them up to this unit if I want to. Just using the speakers alone, it's very possible, but I don't even want to go down that road. So anyway, what I like about this unit is it's very familiar to me, because with all the Digitech units that I've had in the past, it was easy to kind of scroll through this thing. You know, it's got its little menu here, bypass, utility. These are your parameters changing. This is your program change. And with this unit, you know, you just have to understand what you get yourself into. So they have what they call like a global effects patches, you know. So when you go to the right here, you'll start to look at this menu. And this is one of the most important menus when you're creating a patch, because this is going to tell you what the patch offers you. And each patch offers something different, you know. So this one happens to have like compression, distortion, EQ, noise gate. There's another that I forget what that E stands for. And then you got chorus, delay, reverb 1, which I think is a room reverb, and then a mix, and then an SS out. I'm going through the manual because I'm still trying to define what the SS abbreviations stand for. And so yeah, and so when you're done with that, then you know, each patch. Let me go to one that I haven't modified yet. So let me go back to here, the Tony Iommi, which really doesn't sound anything like Tony Iommi. But let me go to patch number 7 here. Let's go to 7, which I haven't really messed with this one. Says some balls. What is patch 7? Is a Larry Carlton patch. Okay, without even hearing it, I just wanted to show you that. So this one has compression, distortion, flanger, delay, and reverb 2, which is, from what I understand so far, is a hall reverb. And then, so when you start to modify this particular unit, it's not that complicated though. You go right, and then now here you see is a little bit more defined in a nutshell, because there's added things that you don't see, like the compression, the EQ, the E for it's like an enhancer, flanger, delay, reverb 2, and the mix. So if you wanted to change this, here's the next one, and it will change the sound on the fly as you scroll through these. If you save anything, then these are the parameters of effects you are defined to. You know, you can't go outside of this. You can't add another delay or another type of it won't allow you to do that. You have to work within these parameters. So that's the thing you have to be mindful of when you're trying to change the parameter, that you're limited to just whatever one of these you want to select, no matter how the program was created. You can change it by just saying, well, I don't really like that whole thing. Let me use this global effects patch right here, which may offer you something different. One has chorus, one doesn't. One has flanger, one doesn't. Flanger 1, chorus, flanger 1. This one has a chorus plus 4 time delays. So each one is unique, but you're only limited to that particular selection of effects. And then when you want to change any one of those effects, you just scroll right. Pretty simple. And you start to turn on or off, and you get to see all the parameters and adjust. This EQ is pretty easy because this used to be on the 2101 where you just scroll across like this, and you can adjust your 7-band EQ however you want to shape your sound, which is pretty cool. I forget what unit it was Digitech made that didn't even offer a scroll menu like this. They just offered you, decibels and hertz. It was a real bitch to really try to modify that one. Oh, so it's an enhancement. That's what the E stands for. Noise gate, and these are all adjustable because they all affect the sound and stuff like that. Effects loop, which is in the back. I think that's the only way to really run effects. It doesn't like running effects in the front. Running the effects like my pedals down here, if I wanted to run these in front of the rack unit, it's not very friendly. So I guess you'd have to push it through the rear end, anything that you wanted to add to this unit as far as effects are concerned, or anything through the effects loop. And then there's your flange. Pretty straightforward stuff. But the quality of the effects is really, really good. And this is all 80s, 90 type tones. Where there was a lot of chorus and a lot of reverbs in a lot of the guitar units at that time. And the chorus are really, really nice too. I think they're more true and better defined on a rack unit than in a pedal for sure, because this whole unit is dedicated to certain guitar effects, flanger, chorus. So they sound quite different than them just being shoved into a little, stomp box. So, let's listen to a little bit of it. I just wanted to share with you guys. This is kind of what I'm up to right now. Did I need this? No, but it was just kind of like I wanted to revisit this unit because I've never had this unit. I was like, I don't think I ever had this GSP 21 Pro with the Legend chip, and so I really don't know how a lot of these sound. I've only gone up to number 5 or 6 Canyon Chorus, which is really nice. I think the sound of it is really, really nice. Let me get set up here. Let me hold on just a second, guys. All right, welcome back. So this is Canyon Chorus. We'll start in the middle position. Modified this patch, but there's a way to definitely take this to a very ambient, more ambient. I want to get rid of that really, really deep low end. I would go into the unit and adjust EQ parameters. If I wanted to just get rid of the chorus, I would just go left here, compressions on, and just get to the chorus. And we can just hear what it sounds like without the chorus. Noise gate is on. Here's the chorus. Chorus off. It's got some sort of ping-ponging delay happening. Which I could spread that out. It seems to be very tight. And so it's like, but if we were to spread it out, it'd get really ambient. Here's a little bit of the neck. I think this rack unit is really nice, and some people forget that with a rack unit you can actually sing through this. You can get all the qualities of a studio sound through your microphone, and you'd be amazed how good your voice will sound through one of these units because it's totally professional. I think it was the 2111 or the 2101 didn't even have a noise gate, and it was really noisy. Killer sounds with killer choruses, but man, it was a very noisy unit. Maybe because it had a real EL6 in it. So with the foot controller, I can hit that distortion. I noticed that my guitars sound a lot different through this unit. They resonate different. Even with the Crybaby, things come through very differently than like when I'm just using my pedals or when I'm using the digital DSPs. So quite interesting. Let's see. Yeah, they're just quite a bit different. The Crybaby seems to have more sweep, so I guess the interpretation of sound is quite different coming through the unit. Let's get back to no distortion. Now watch, I'm going to use my Ultra Metal because I'm playing through my pedal board. go through like the effects loop and then kind of tame down. So if you don't save it, everything remains the way that it is. If you haven't modified it and saved it to the channel, then nothing gets changed. If I go back to the beginning when I first went back to the factory presets, because when I first brought it home, channel 1 didn't say Tony Iommi, and I was worried for a minute that I didn't really have the legend chip. So I did a factory reset and Tony Iommi popped up on the first channel. It was heavily saturated with, I don't know if it was chorus or reverb, but I kind of toned that down. So I modified this one a little bit. Sound anything like Tony Iommi. So I don't know what Joker or what the company was thinking at that time, but I didn't change any of the distortion parameters. So I don't know where they came up with Tony Iommi, because this definitely doesn't have, to me, a Tony Iommi vibe at all. One thing about all Digitechs and rack units at that time was you were limited to that particular sound. I think only when Line 6 started making their rack units, they gave you variations of different types of distortions, where Digitech basically was a modified Digitech distortion, but it was Digitech's distortion, like Rocktron distortion, and the Rocktron Chameleon. And it seemed like most Digitech distortions always kind of retained the same sound. They never really offered you anything really different. You could modify the sound, but it was still Digitech. Just like Line 6 was still, like, in the early days, Line 6 was still Line 6 distortions. Or Rocktron, had their own distortion sound. And God, what else? They had they all retained their own distortion sort of tone. So Digitech still has that. It's totally Digitech tone. Moving up to channel 2. Effect on this one. Compression. This rack unit also has that 80s compression. It's like really 80s oriented tones. So if you were to turn off that compression, let's see if I just come over here, turn it off. effect comes through a little more. Moving on to channel 3. This tone was kind of reminded me of a Rush kind of a thing. So. The only differences I noticed about the distortions and the choruses on these rack units is the way chords get defined. For example, if I go back to the Tony Iommi, they just sound different. They're layered different. And the guitar just comes through a lot different with those kind of chords. Kind of more defined, even with things that get like where it sounds maybe it's not muddy, but it is. All right, let's go to patch number 5. Just a simple patch that I'm probably going to redo that one. I'm not sure what I was doing with it. You know, as I play it more, I think of maybe what tone that's trying to mimic. And another thing, if you just notice, like when you go from the neck to the middle to the bridge, the same setting really changes a lot. It's kind of crazy. So here in the bridge. pickup selection a lot better. Anyway, I don't want to drag it out too much, guys. I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be playing with this Digitech GSP 21 Pro with the Legend chip, and it's quite different from, like the DSPs and my rack gear. It's definitely taking me back to that 80s tone, 80s, 90s tone, but these units really offer a lot of different options, and they're good to have. I was lucky, I think, to find this one in really good condition. Everything is functioning normal, and it had the extra chip, which you can still find on eBay, but they're usually coming from across the Pacific Ocean from the UK's, and I think that one chip alone is running about close to $60 just for the chip. And then they made another unit called the Digitech 21 Pro Legend, basically with the chip already inside of the unit. So, and then also the foot controller with the Legend named printed on that one. But I think it looks great at night. I mean, it really pops at night. If you can see that, I mean, it really stands out. So that's kind of cool, Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. And I was sick for a few days, and so I'm just kind of hanging out, doing things a little different, being lazy, but I'm just kind of was out of it for a couple days. I didn't even go to work Saturday, which is kind of, I wasn't really feeling it. So, and now I'm just here, just kind of playing with this unit, which is, I think, is really nice, Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah. And I'd have to get in there and kind of adjust the parameters, kind of bring down that bass, which gets too bassy, and but tighten things up a little. And just when it's good to be passing the time and getting back into changing parameters. And not that I need to, but I thought it was a good find. And I never really had this model, so I find it quite interesting because I think it's better than the double spaced DSP Digitech 2011 or the 2020. I forget which model. They made a few double space rack units, but I'm always a fan of the single space rack units because it saves space in the when you have to buy a rack unit, to house them in. So I used to have bigger ones that were like 12 rack space units, 6. I think I'm going to need to fit everything back into one unit or one rack case, probably a 6 to 8 rack unit box, and then just to house them in. What I'll do with it, I don't know. And thanks for hanging out, guys, and have a blessed week. Take care.